Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Cow, and today we are starting our new unit on triangles. So if you have seen or were part of the Granny Squares Cal in 2018, last year, we made lots of squares in various patterns, and this year in Beyond the Cow we are making some triangles this month in various patterns. So we're going to give you a bonus today, and that we're doing 2 triangles, but usually we will have one on a Monday and one on a Wednesday at midnight GMT. So that's UK time at midnight on the Monday and on the Wednesday. So there'll be 2 a week, and there'll be 9 in total during April. So we're giving you 2 today. We're starting with the basic granny stitch triangle and then the solid granny stitch triangle. So we're starting with 2 very classic stitches today. Nice and simple. They give a lovely effect when you change colour, but they also look like this if you don't change colour. So they look lovely whichever way you choose to do them. Find the front, there we go. So this is what we're making today, and then we'll be back on Wednesday with another triangle pattern, but just one. So stay tuned. We're going to start with the basic granny stitch, and then we will be doing the solid granny about halfway through the video. Okay, so grab your hook and yarn and your cup of tea, and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with that basic granny triangle, which is number 1A, this basic granny triangle. Okay, so we have to make a few adjustments to the granny square with our number of chains in the corners and along the sides. So we can start with a chain 4 and slip stitch, as I'm doing here, or you can start with the magic ring. Entirely up to you which you prefer. Okay, so I've got my ring here, and I'm just going to stop the camera and zoom in slightly. Okay, there we go, zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing a bit better. Okay, so we're going to start with a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the first 2 chains are going to count as a double crochet, and the next 3 chains are for our first corner. And the reason we're doing 2 chains to count as the double crochet is that it makes it a bit tighter and less of a gap between the stitches. Okay, if you prefer to do a standing double crochet and then chain 3, that's entirely up to you. I'm always going to start this way, but if you prefer to do the standing double crochet and then a chain 3, that's absolutely fine. Okay, and then we're going to do 3 double crochet into the ring. 3 double crochet. And then chain 3 for the next corner or point, and then another 3 double crochet into your ring. And another 3 chains for the next point, and then we are back to where we started. So we want to pop 2 more double crochet next to this first chain, so 2 double crochet into the ring. Okay, and then you're going to slip stitch into the second chain of your chain 5, or into the top of your standing double crochet if you did that one. Okay, and then whichever type of ring you started with, you just hold on to the front and just give that a slight tug, and you can pull that in. Even if you've done the chain 4 and slip stitch, you can still pull that in a little way. So you've made your first little tiny triangle. There we go. Cute, cute, cute. So what you can do now, if you are keeping the same colour, you can slip stitch over to your corner space. Okay, if you are changing colour, Then fasten off this colour and rejoin your new colour in the corner space. Okay, so I have my slip knot on my hook and I'm going to join into my corner space. So changing colour every round does give you a lot of tails to sew in, but it is a nice effect. It's also a lovely effect in just one colour. It's just kind of does add a little bit of interest to it. So join your colour into your corner or do that slip stitch across, and then as before we're going to chain 5 as the double crochet and chain 3, and then we're going to do 3 double crochet into the same corner space. Okay, and then we're going to chain 2 for the side. Normally in a square we would chain 1, or some people would prefer to not even chain, but for this we just need to make sure it reaches nicely. So chain 2 and then 3 double crochet into your corner space, the next corner space. Okay, and then chain 3 and then another 3 in the same space. Okay, so each corner space now will have 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. Okay, and then along the side we're going to chain 2 to go across this shell of 3, and then in the next space we're going to do that 3 double crochet, chain 3 and 3 more double crochet in that same space. So remember, each point or corner is 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, and then chain 2 to take you across each set of 3 double crochet, and then into your initial starting point you're going to do 2 double crochet to finish. 1 and 2, and then slip stitch into your second chain of the starting chain 5. There we go, and there is your second little triangle. There we go. How cute is that? So if you wanted some little triangle motifs for something, you could by all means just leave these at any round you choose. Every round is going to make a cute little triangle. It's just going to get slightly bigger and slightly bigger. Okay, so once again I'm going to fasten off this colour and rejoin my peachy pink colour, which I guess is coral. Peachy pink is coral, is it? And then I'm going to join my new colour in this corner. If you're keeping the same colour, then just slip stitch across into that point. Okay, my colour is rejoined, so I'm going to do that initial chain 5 just as I've done before for my first double crochet and my corner chain 3. Okay, chain 5 and then 3 double crochet into that same space. There we go. Okay, and remember we're going to do the last 2 double crochet when we come back around to this point. Okay, so then we're going to chain 2 to go across this first set of 3 stitches, and then in this side space now, which is a new thing, we haven't had a side space before, in this space here we're going to do 3 double crochet. So you're always doing 3 double crochet at a time, whether it's in the corner or the side. Okay, and then chain 2, skip the 3 stitches, and in your next point 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. you might want to scooch them down a little just to make room for the next 3. Okay, there we go. So there's our point, and then we're going to do 2 chains, and then in the next space 3 double crochet. And you're probably starting to get the gist of how this is working up now. Nice and simple, and very, very similar to making the granny square, which some of you are probably quite familiar with if you've been crocheting a little while. Or it's probably one of the first things you've ever made was a granny square. So we're just having to remember that we only want 3 points rather than 4. Okay, so another chain 2 to come across the 3 stitches, and then in this next point 3 double crochet, chain 3 and 3 double crochet, dimples. So just remembering 3 really, 3 double crochet, chain 3. Oh, and the chain 2s. Me thinking it was all 3s and it's not. Okay, so chain 2, next space, 3 double crochet. Okay, and then another chain 2 and 2 double crochet back in this first space where you started. And slip stitch into the second chain of your initial chain 5. And there is our third size of little diddy triangles, getting bigger. I'm just going to fasten this off and rejoin my silvery grey. So there we go, there's our third size of triangle. Looking good, looking good. Not fitting on my zoomed in screen, but never mind, we can get the gist of this. There we go. Okay, so just as before, I'm going to rejoin my silver in this top point. If you're keeping the same colour, then as before, slip stitch across into that corner point. Okay, and I'll see you in a second. And here we go, I've got my silver joined again and I'm ready to go. So we're going to start as before with 5 chains. And then 3 double crochet into the same space. You might see that I've been working over the end, my tail end, for those first 3 stitches. When I'm doing granny squares, I tend to only work over it for the first few stitches, and then I leave it and sew it in afterwards, because if not, you have it coming across the back here, and we don't do anything to cover that, so the back will always have this piece showing there, and then you'll have it there. And to me, I just prefer it without that. So by all means you could do that, but I find that it's not very secure because there's lots of it showing, and lots of it can just get sort of pulled. I find it more secure to sew it in, but I just like to secure it under the first few stitches to start with. So a lot of patterns you can work over the end, but when it's more open like this, I find that it's much more secure to sew in rather than leaving those pieces that can get caught. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2, and then in the first space we're going to do 3 double crochet. And then chain 2, and then you're going to do 3 double crochet in the next, and then in the corner 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. And then you're going to do a chain 2 and then do your 3 double crochets in the spaces, and so on, just as you have done in the previous round. And then back in this first point, you're going to do your last 2 double crochets and slip stitch in the second chain, just as we have done on the previous 3 rounds. And then Using this 4.5mm hook and the regular DK number 4 yarn makes sides of approximately 6 inches. So this is an equilateral triangle. Let me zoom out. This is an equilateral triangle. Each of these sides are the same length, and I've got 5 rounds here, and that makes it just about 6 inches per side. Okay, so if you do 5 rounds, measure it and see whether you need another round or not, depending on your tension, depending on hook size, yarn. If you don't mind what size it is, then just do it as you please. If you want all your triangles that we're going to be making this month to be the same size, then you will need to measure, and then you could always add a single crochet round if needed to bring it up just a tiny bit bigger. Okay, so I'm going to continue. This is my 4th round, so I'm going to continue this, and then I'm going to add a final round of my peachy colour, and then I'll show you the finished result. And here is my finished square, I was going to say. It's my finished triangle with the 5 rounds, and I love it, love it, love it. So it might not look like 6 inches, but it is 6 inches almost. There we go, look across there, 6 inches, perfect. And that's what we're aiming for all our triangles to be. If you need to add another round, or you need to do a round of half double crochet or something, then feel free to change it up as you wish. This is your project, your work. There's no right or wrong, we're just showing you how it's generally made. So there we go, there is the basic granny stitch triangle, and I like to the point that I started with, I kind of like to pop somewhere down the bottom so it's not as obvious. So the better point is at the top without those starting chains. So there we go, and we are going to be showing you at some point what you can use these triangles for. But do have a look in the unit on Facebook to see what ideas there are. So that is our basic granny stitch triangle today. I'm going to show you in just a moment how to make the solid granny triangle. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so here's our solid granny triangle. Again, a version of the solid granny square, where you have the gaps at the corners on the granny square. So we've just got those going at the points. And again, we work it up in almost the same way. We just have to adjust the chains at the points and the amount of stitches we make. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as the square. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start with the opposite colorway this time, and again I will change colors so you can see how it looks in different colors. So this time I'm going to start with a magic ring just to change it up a bit and show you something different. You can start with the same chain 4 and slip stitch to make the ring if you prefer, as we did for the basic granny stitch. But I'm just going to use the magic ring just to show you something a bit different today. Okay, so to start with, we are going to chain 3, and that's going to be for our first double crochet. Again, you could use the standing double crochet if you prefer, and then make 2 more double crochet into the ring. Okay, let me zoom in. There we go, you can see it a bit closer now. So then the difference of this one is we're going to chain 4 for the corner point. Okay, so chain 4, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochet into the ring, and another chain 4 for the second point, and then 3 more double crochet, and chain 4, and then you want to pull your ring in a bit. If you're using the magic ring, just pull your ring in nice and tightly, and then you want to slip stitch to the top of your starting chain 3. Now I've pulled my magic ring in quite tightly to close up that centre. If you prefer, you can leave it as a more open centre, and if you've done the chain 4 and slip stitch, you can pull that in a bit tighter, or you can leave it as an open centre. Entirely up to you. So as you can see, we've got a first little triangle. How cute is that? So I am going to change colour. So I'm going to leave that colour as a loop. I'm going to pull my other colour through. Now you can do your colour change however you prefer, okay? People have their preferred methods of colour change. This is just how I'm going to colour change on this one. So I'm going to make a loop here, just an open loop, no knot, and we're going to pull it through this silver. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that silver down nice and tightly, so there's no slip knots, nothing to make it into a bigger bump, and I'm going to cut this silver off. Okay, just leave that one at the side, and then I'm going to continue with this peachy colour, coral, whatever colour I decided it was. Okay, and then we'll start the next round. Okay, if you're not changing colour, then you don't need to do a thing. So I'm going to stitch over my tail for the first few stitches, okay? The good thing about this is, if you can see here on the back, we cover pretty much every stitch here. So this is one where you can work over your tail more easily. So we're going to start with chain 3 as our first double crochet, and then double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then in your corner we are going to do 3 double crochet. Now the traditional solid granny square, we do 2 stitches in the corner, but we're going to do 3 for our triangle. So 3 stitches in the corner, or the point, whichever you prefer to call it. Okay, and then you're going to chain 4. So 3 double crochet, chain 4, and then another 3 double crochet. Okay, so that corner is 3 double crochet, chain 4, and 3 double crochet, and then get some more yarn, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch along this side. So at the moment we've got 3 stitches there, so we're going to do 1 in each of those 3. Okay, and then in this next corner we're going to do exactly the same as the previous corner point and do 3 double crochet, chain 4, and 3 more double crochet. Okay, and then 1 double crochet into each of the stitches along the side. Oops. 1 in each. Okay, and then we're back to our starting corner. Oh, no, we didn't start in the corner on this one. I'm thinking back to the granny stitch. Okay, so this last corner, 3 double crochet. Chain 4. And 3 double crochet. There we we go. Now that tail has gone pretty much the whole way around my triangle, so that's going to be fairly secure there, and you can't see much of it on the back, which is great. So it's nice and secure. Just cut that piece off. Okay, so slip stitch into the top of that beginning chain 3, or the top of your standing double crochet, and there is your second round, making again a cute triangle. There we go, cute, cute. So I'm going to change colour again. If you don't want to change colour, then just hold on a second. And I'm just going to show you a second way you can change colour, and this is by not cutting this peachy colour off, or whatever colour you're using, obviously. Bringing your new colour in, just unwind some of this. Okay, so what we're going to do is again pull this loop through your existing loop, and then pull that peachy colour down nice and tightly, as tight as possible, and then we're going to work with the silver. Okay, so I'm going to just leave this peach at the back, okay, and work with the silver, and then we'll come back to the peach on the next round. So chain 3 as your first double crochet, and then as before 1 double crochet into every stitch along. Okay, I'll just show you this first side, and then I'll leave you to continue, because this is a lovely repetitive pattern, nice and easy to learn, and you can make triangles as tiny as you like from that first round to as big as you like. We're going to make it a 6-inch triangle, but you can make it as small or as big as you like. So in your corner, 3 double crochet, chain 4, and 3 more double crochet. There we go. And that is what you're going to continue all the way around. 1 double crochet in each stitch, then in your corner point 3 double crochet, chain 4, 3 double crochet, and then continue around along this side, and then slip stitch to the top of your chain 3, and then I'll join you back and I'll show you what I'm going to do for the colour change. Okay, there we go, there's the round 3. I love this, love it, love it. Okay, so the way I'm going to colour change on this one now is, rather than having to join a whole new piece of yarn and have more tails to deal with, I'm just going to bring this peach colour up, and I've done my slip stitch, and I'm going to bring this peach colour up and through, and then just drop that grey, pull it down nice and tightly, and then I'm ready to start. And so I have, if the camera will focus, let's see, okay, so I just have this little piece of that peachy colour there, which, depending on what you're going to use this for, it doesn't really matter. So it depends what kind of look you want on the back of your work, and how much you like sewing ends in. I personally don't mind sewing ends in. I'm one of the rare few, I think. But that's one way you can do it as well. You just have a small piece of yarn being carried up, and then when you change to the next row, you'll carry the grey up, and then again you'll have just a small piece of the grey. So not much really, and it just does save another end to sew in if you don't really want to sew ends in. So that is that, and then you're just going to start this row in exactly the same way of chaining 3 for your double crochet, and then let's pull that silver down nice and tightly, and then 1 double crochet into each stitch, and when you get to your corner point, 3 double crochet, chain 4, 3 double crochet, and that is that. So let me see, on here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, this will be my last round of double crochet, and then we do a round of single crochet just to finish off the size. Or you could use a bigger stitch if you need it for size, or if you want to do a big triangle, very big triangle, then you would do your single crochet round when you've got it up to size. And the single crochet round just kind of finishes it off and stops these corner points from being big and kind of loose. It just makes them a bit firmer. Okay, so I'm going to finish this round as before, and then I'll just talk you through doing the single crochet round. And there we are after round 4, looking good. So as I said, you can continue this up to whatever size you want, but this is almost up to 6 inches across the side. So I'm going to do the single crochet round to finish. If it's not quite up to the size that you need it to be, then you can always do another round in half double crochet and then a round of single crochet if you know that you don't need actually a double crochet round. Okay, or you could just do 2 rounds of single crochet. That's absolutely fine as well. So I'm going to change colour back to the silver to finish off, silver, light grey. So I'm just going to bring this silver up from where it was, where I left it, and pull through that peach, and then pull that peach down nice and tightly. And because I finished with that one, I'm going to cut that off, leave a tail for working over, and let's just pop that one aside. Okay, so again we just have a short piece of the silver yarn there, not much but just a little bit. Okay, so it depends if you like that look or not, whether you change colour in that method. Okay, so we're going to continue in the same way, only we're going to chain 1 and then do a single crochet in this same place that we have slip stitched into. Okay, so single crochet and then a single crochet into every stitch along. So this first couple of stitches can be tricky where you've done your slip stitch and the next one, but once you've started, it's nice and easy. Just 1 single crochet into every stitch along. And I'm just going to work towards the corner to show you how we're going to do the corner points, if I can do my stitches correctly and not get in a tangle. So just keep working along. And we're nearly at that corner point. So 1 in the last stitch there. And now in your corner point for the single crochet, we're just going to do 2 single crochets. Okay, 2 single crochets. And then chain 2 single crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more single crochets in that corner. And this helps stable up our corner points and makes them less big and floppy, because these are quite big and not very solid. So we're just making these corners more solid, which I'll show you after I've done the next couple of stitches. I'll show you how that looks. So let's do the next side, working 1 stitch into each, 1 single crochet. Nice and simple. So if I show you this corner now, you can see that's a much firmer point there, and nice and solid there, rather than this one here. Okay, so the single crochet makes it a bit more pointy and more solid. Okay, and I'll show you if you forget to chain 2. This one with when I chained 4, so again I've got not quite as solid a corner, so that was a mistake. But this gives a brilliant effect to finish it off, and you get this nice little edging border edging around. So yeah, so just continue around, 1 single crochet in every stitch, and a in each point 2 single crochet, chain 2 and 2 single crochet. And I will see you in a moment when I've finished. Show you my finished piece. There we go, there's my finished triangle. So I'm just going to show you, you can just do a simple slip stitch into your last stitch if you wish. I'm going to show you the invisible join, just in case you've never used that before. So I'm going to cut a tail off of my finished colour, and then instead of yarning over and pulling through to secure that as we normally would, I'm just going to pull it through so it comes out of that last stitch. So if you can see here, camera focus, it's coming out from that last stitch over this way now. Okay, so I'm going to thread my needle with that tail, and then hopefully the camera can pick this up. I'm going to go under this first stitch here, just as if I was going to slip stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go under those first 2 loops, just as if I was going to slip stitch. And then what we're going to do is basically a fake stitch. So you want to leave a small piece of yarn at the front as if you're doing a stitch, so about the same length as your other stitches. And then if you look at the next or the last stitch that you did, you've got this front loop and the back loop. Okay, you've got these 2 pieces. You want to go from the middle under the back loop. Okay, so you've got these 2 loops that normally you'd go under both. You want to go in from the center and under that back loop and pull. And then if you can see here, it just looks like a row of stitches. Where was that join? It just looks like a row of stitches. Okay, and it's actually here. So then turn it around and then just go under a piece of that same colour yarn. Don't pull it any tighter, just go under there and then secure it. I like to go through there, just secure it down so that it's not going to change the size of that at the front. And there we go. Focus. There we go. There's your invisible join. It just all looks the same. And then you can just weave in this end as usual. Okay, so there we go. That is our solid granny triangle. So today we've got the solid granny triangle with just a few coloured ends to sew in because I worked over one and then I pulled the other 2 up. Okay, so you can just see those couple of pieces there. So there's the solid granny triangle. And then we had this one, the basic granny triangle. And you can see that the sides are almost identical in size. So if you wanted to sew these together to make up a project, it would be nice and easy because they're the same size. Okay, so there we go. I hope you've found this useful and helpful today, making these 2, and you've enjoyed making something a bit different shape. It's certainly made a nice change from making squares and things. So I hope you found this useful and helpful, and if you have, then please click the like button, give us a thumbs up, and have fun with this. So until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.